As a lamb on children's tombstones, but another symbol carving you'll see on children's tombstones, the sleeping child right there on Henry Ackerman's tombstone. Was aged 1 year, 7 months, and 8 days. Sleeping child, representing purity, innocence, and then sometimes, I don't think it is in this case, but sometimes they're shown naked, just sleeping naked, indicating they have nothing to hide, being pure and innocent, pure and innocent children. Yeah, go ahead. Come on, move on down. I know it's around here someplace. I'll pass this around because I can't find it right now. You'll see if you notice, and you'll see that it's a helmet, a knight's helmet, heraldic, crossed swords, the letters K of C, and the letters F, C, and B. That usually indicates a Knights of Pythias. Knight of Pythias is buried. It was an organization founded in 1864, the Secret Society for Government Clerks, and the F, C, and B, and you'll see this especially in fraternal organizations, shortening of mottos, just the letters. Those of you in the know, and you will be in the know after this tour, will recognize what those letters stand for. In this case, the F, C, and B stands for friendship, charity, and benevolence. And like I said, that's around here, around here somewhere. Follow me, please. But I'd like to talk about one very distinctive one, the pile of books. Now the books, sometimes it's a single book. It can represent the Holy Bible. There's a stone I've noticed on the other side of the cemetery where it's an open book and it says Holy Bible on it. So there's no doubt about that. It doesn't represent the Holy Bible. Sometimes a closed book will represent a completed life, finished book, a completed life. In the state plot that Juliana was talking about earlier, in that direction, the state plot, there was one gentleman around the book on his tombstone. He was a state librarian. So in that case, it was a occupational marker. And in this case, also an occupational marker. Who would have a lot of books? Not a librarian, but who would have a lot of books? Who would use a lot of books? Not teacher? Lawyer. There you go, attorney. Exactly. That man is an attorney. So all sorts of law books. I don't know. Virtual stone law books. Well, yeah, just behind us, the law books. We'll have to move one way or the other to see which is right that my book. A little bit closer, no problem. Right here, the Women of the World tombstone. Women of the World will organize insurance. They maintain life insurance for its members. It was founded in 1890 in Omaha, Nebraska. They're modest in size, but you'll see an awful lot of woodman stones in a cemetery, even though they weren't as large as other organizations, because until the 1920s, every member was guaranteed a tombstone. So it makes a lot of sense. Not many woodmen, but lots of tombstones because they were all guaranteed a tombstone. Now, tombstones, they often include the motto, Dum Tacet Clamet, forgive my Latin. English I can pronounce. It means, though silent, he speaks. You see the motto right there. And you'll also see, at least on this one, you see a dove, an axe, not included here. Oh, there is a wedge right there. And then sometimes a beetle. I don't notice a beetle on this particular stone. But those all represent, well, obviously the dove represents peace. The other items represent workmanship and the progress of culture. Also, might notice this is not an example of it, but you'll see in this cemetery and other cemeteries, stones are actually carved that look like tree stumps. Those are already popular by the time the Women of the World decided to, hey, adopt that symbol. So if you see one, maybe a woman, it may not. Just have to get it closer and then see if any of these other symbols are on it. Definitely making it clear if it was a woodman buried there or just somebody who liked a tree stump on a tombstone. Any questions?
I noticed that there's a most current, 2003, we were talking earlier about people being buried here after, somebody who was buried here.
Right here, and in fact, the husband buried in 2012. So yes, there are a handful, a dozen, 15, 20 burials here per year. As Juliana said, if you have a connection with a family that already owns space, and assuming there is space, or improve connection with the Pioneer Society, you can still be buried here. So not many, but it does definitely still happen. Yes.
I know the band is for mourning, but the tails represent.
This is more of it could be. I mean, Juliana's much more in the know about Victorian mourning garb, but this is more instead of a generic male mourning, it's more of an undertaker. I don't know what that represents, but it's just you would see even today, especially in England, still the tails that sometimes get caught on things. That's what it's for. Not men may have worn it generally. I'm not sure, but at least in my case, it's like Juliana talking about symbols. Sometimes it means this, sometimes it means this, that. In this case, in my case, it's just typical Victorian undertaker. So just across the There's very little shade here, so you get to fight for it. Oh, I suppose you could stand back there as well, just as easily. Now we go from the Oddfellow Cemetery, the old Oddfellow section, to the old Masonic section. Very clearly marked right here, right at the front, old Masonic Cemetery, with the symbol that I'll describe in just a little bit. But first, a little bit about the Masons. They were organized. They began as actual stonemasons, building the great cathedrals of Europe. They went from job to job. They were basically self-employed, and so that's where the free part of Freemasons comes from. Masons because they work with stone, and free because they move from job to. Backing up. Hopefully, we'll back up too far. There we go. Excellent. Make a little three-point turn there. Don't want to get run over by a food truck. But when they worked on large projects, say the great cathedrals, they would band together in lodges, which I know we still have lodges in the Masons today. As to the symbol. It's a square and compass, the upper part, that's the compass. You have compasses in school, not really a pyramid. And then the square below, representing the tools of the trade, being square, true, right, and also often, certainly included here, the letter G. Once again, one of those, what does the symbol mean one way or the other? Some say the G stands for God, others say the G stands for geometry. Both make sense in the lodge. So I guess it's up to whoever carved a particular stone, or the deceased wishes may have said I want a G because it's for God. Somebody else may have said I want a G because it's geometry. Somebody may have said, I really have no idea what the G stood for. So just put it on my tombstone anyway, being a good Mason. But that's what the square and compass represents. Any questions? Let's see if I can find you more. Right about here. Perfect placement of shade. I'm sure they thought about it when they were planting these trees in the cemetery back in 1849. It's going to sound a little strange going backwards, but I'm going to do it anyway. We'll start off with the statue of the woman, just beyond that way with a hand, or at least had a hand at one point. Vandalism, wear and tear, I'm not sure, no longer has the hand pointing up to heaven, but that is the statue of hope. Another common symbol, it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but she's leaning on an anchor. Another very common symbol of hope, coming from Hebrews 6:19, which reads, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into that within the veil. Or you may be more familiar with one of my favorite hymns, my hope is built on nothing less. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. That based on that passage from 6:19, and that's why the anchor is often used as a symbol of hope. In this case, it's kind of hard to see. You might be able to see it. The allegorical figure of hope. She has a star on her head. In other cases, she's carrying a basket of flowers, or perhaps has a small ship. Once again, sort of that seafaring, hopeful, anchor, giving you something stable and firm to grab onto, but a ship on her head. But in this case, it's a star. Continuing with that seafaring theme, the stone right here. And if you'd like to, just watch your step. You can walk up just beyond this obelisk right here. We'll talk about obelisks in just a little bit. I had a question about why obelisk. There is a good reason for it. You want to walk around this way and then come on back. Because the symbol on the other side of what I want to talk about, it is an anchor and a ship. Now, as I was saying, anchors, very allegorical, can mean hope. But in this case, that's an occupational symbol. The man, and you can see as you see his name on the other side of that stone, was a ship captain. So it makes a lot of sense to have an anchor and a ship carved into your tombstone. And you get a little closer look at the statue of Hope. There's several others. I think there's at least 3 others I've noticed, the statue of Hope throughout the cemetery. Very obvious when she's leaning on the anchor. You know that's an allegorical figure of Hope. But then come on back. Now we're looking at Juliana's tombstone. I did not just kill your tour guide and barrier here. This is in order to buy a lot beforehand and have a stone carved beforehand. This is Juliana with one end. The other Juliana is with 2 ends. Who died in 1859, I should say. The symbol I want to point out though are the torches. Torches you see upside down, but still lit. Torches. Often, I don't know if there's any examples of it here in the cemetery, you'll see an upright torch, representing the strength, vitality of life. But in this case, upside down torch, the extinguishing of life, but at the same time it continues to burn. The soul continues, mortal life, the flesh may pass away, but the immortal soul continues on. I've also read, and I don't know if there's any examples here in the cemetery, but I've read that 2 cross torches means the extinguishing the end of the male line of a family. Like I said, I haven't been able to find any actual tombstones that I can do research on and find out if that's true, at least in a specific case. But in general, that's what I've heard, that 2 cross torches means the extinguishing of the male line. So theoretically, it would be a man's tomb if that's true. Yes? Do we know what was on top of that? Any of a fellow docent? No? Okay. No, we don't. Most likely, you can see many of these have an urn on top behind you. It's most likely an urn. See, it's such a small base, so it's not, it's not going to be some giant statue or anything. That's one of the importances of give you the nudge, wink, wink of donations to the cemetery for the maintenance and repair of stones just like this one. All right, pledge break over with. Follow me. Yes, question. I'm actually going to talk about that stone. Follow me, please. Please watch your step. Out is that stone right there, and as you cross over, just right in front, you will notice the symbol. So the symbol I want to talk about, just so you can walk right on through, just please watch your step, and then back to the main pathway we were just on. But you'll notice the symbol at the very bottom. Now this stone I really like because it looks like a cathedral spire. Now why this person wanted a cathedral spire on his grave, I don't know. Perhaps he visited the great cathedrals of Europe and decided, I want something like that on my own stone. Like I said, I don't know why, but what I want to talk about is the symbol at the bottom. It's a triangle with a 6-pointed star inside. That indicates this man was a son of temperance. Now, as the name suggests, the sons of temperance were organized to fight the evils of alcohol, to encourage temperance. It was established in New York City in 1842, but quickly spread, very popular, quickly spread across the United States and Canada. It actually still exists today. They still have a website, although the aims of the society aren't exactly the same as they were originally. Often, and in this case it does, it actually spells it out. But if you see the triangle with the star and the letters L, P, and F, it stands for love, purity, and fidelity. Yeah, I found a stone that was pretty funny on the other side. You may have even passed it, not even known it, because it's written on the back side of the stone. But it's that triangle with the 6-pointed stone. because there was no motto on it. I discovered that one day and said, hey, Juliana, what is this? She had no idea what it was, but I did some research on it and found,